Hey, Danielle here. Luna there. That's a neighbor cat. She visits me on a daily basis. And we're here to post my first blog on training, if I figure out how to put this on YouTube, which I might not. But in that case, it'll just be a personal video for me. I'm going to update it weekly though, because I'm just going to use this as a source of inspiration and motivation and accountability, just to kind of check in with my training. So my goal for this Sugarloaf Marathon is to run a 3:25 or faster, which is a 7:49-minute mile or faster, which is what I need to do if I want to qualify for the Boston Marathon for 2020. And this has been a goal for my entire life, and I came so close last year. I ran the Sugarloaf Marathon last year, and I got 3 hours, 30 minutes, and 27 seconds. And normally I would have been good and I would have qualified, but they cut down the times to even faster times last year. So the cutoff was technically 3:35 for my age group, but they cut it down 4 minutes and 52 seconds. So you only qualified if you were 3 hours, 30 minutes, and 8 seconds. So yeah, I missed it by 19 seconds. It was kind of brutal the first couple days. I was pretty bummed out about it, but I got over it quickly because I realized it was only an opportunity for me to run even faster. And that marathon was the fastest marathon of my life. It was the first time I trained properly, changed my lifestyle, slept enough, was eating all the right foods. So I feel like if that's the progress that I can make for just doing it all right the first time, imagine what I can do the second time. So I'm pretty excited. It's February now, and I just finished my first week of training, week 16, so I got 15 left to go. I ran my first 2-digit mile run last Sunday, 13 miles it was, and it's the first time I've done it in a long time. So I'm in shape. I still exercise daily, but I was certainly kind of keeping it on the DL because I knew marathon training was coming up, and it does take a lot out of a person. So I wasn't sure what to expect for the first long run, but it went really well. And I averaged an 8-minute and 16-second mile, which was faster than I had to do. So I feel like I'm doing good so far. Last year at this time in February, I was extremely sick. I was so sick that I couldn't run for the entire month. And I had already signed up for my marathon, and I thought that I was just going to comp out, and that I just, it was just too many weeks of not training because I only had 11 weeks to train. But I'm really, really grateful that my boyfriend convinced me to do it anyway, because it was my breakthrough marathon, and it led me to believe that I can do great things in the world of running. So I'm so excited because I have all of February to train, and I didn't last year, and it's only going to make me do better. The training program that I'm using, it's a bit of a minimalist mentality, so this is not for everyone, I know, but it absolutely works for me. This is the book. It's called Run Less, Run Faster. Goodness, so much sun in the background. It's the revised edition by Runner's World, and this book, in fact, it has programs for 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, but the main focus here is marathons, specifically to qualify for Boston. And so it's broken down with lots of speed charts, and it gives you marathon racing plans based on the time that you need in order to qualify. So actually, this book may even need to be updated, because since they made the times faster last year, this isn't necessarily accurate for who it's for. But it's still a fantastic go-to book. And I really like that it only has a 3-run-a-week training program, because just knowing myself and how I work best, I cannot overtrain. I can't do a lot of long distance when I was running Division I in college, I absolutely overworked myself and suffered immensely for it. In fact, I was out my entire senior year. I couldn't even run because I got so badly injured. I had such a bad hamstring injury. It just put me out the whole year. So I learned the hard way that quality over quantity, less is more. Weight training is important to strengthen. And this particular book here, the 3 runs that you have is the speed workout, the tempo workout, and the long run, of course. So, it's the essential 3 runs, and honestly, the expectations for how fast you need to run these are so challenging that you really don't want to run anymore. I mean, you need recovery days with this program. My legs are tired, and on the other days I'll do upper body, or I'll do some yoga, or just, it'll be a day off and I'll go in the hot tub. And that's what I really need is just plenty of rest, plenty of food, plenty of protein, plenty of sleep. And this plan really does me good. So that's what I'm doing there. And also, if you're out there wondering about what marathon you should do, I ran the Vermont City Marathon in Burlington twice. I ran, I believe, a 3:44 the first time and then a 3:42 the second time. I wasn't quite training correctly, so I mean, my time should have been that slow, as to be expected, but that marathon is a bit hilly, and it certainly isn't the best marathon to do if you want to run a PR marathon. So what I did was I did some heavy research online. I think there's a site that's called findmymarathon.com, in which you can compare a marathon you already ran to a marathon that you're interested in running, and it can tell you what time you would get if you ran at the same pace for that mile, just based on elevation and season, temperature, etc. It also tells you what marathons are the fastest for Boston qualifiers, etc. So I did a lot of research on that one, and I decided that the Sugarloaf Marathon was best for me. It's a lot smaller than the Vermont City Marathon, which I didn't, I wasn't too keen on at first because I love the energy and all the people, and it's just so entertaining and exciting. But the Sugarloaf Marathon was actually fantastic. Oh, the other thing that I was worried about with the Sugarloaf Marathon was that they don't have pacers. And I did rely on pacers at Burlington. And I just thought, I don't know if I could pace myself. But you know what? You can pace yourself. You can do it. Like, it's important to be able to run splits that are similar to each other and know how that feels. Like, that's just a part of being a runner that has strategy and that's experienced. The other thing I did to help myself pace is you can get these little wristbands. You can order them. And this is what I wore, and it clocked out every single mile for me and what time I should be getting for that mile based on the elevation and what my time is overall. It even has a little elevation chart on the back, which is cool. So Sugarloaf was great. It was smaller, but it was the perfect time of year. It was in the spring, so it can't possibly be too hot. It's the heat that always totally sucks all the life out of me. So cold is good. In fact, it was drizzling when I ran it. Perfect weather. It's also nice because there are a couple hills in the beginning. There's one big one at it starts at mile 8 or 9. And that one is, you just got to slow down for it. It's still early in the race, so it's okay. But after the half, you are essentially running a slight downgrade for the rest of the marathon, which is exactly what I needed. It was fantastic. And so that was the one. That was the best one of my life, and I am so excited to run it again now that I know it well and I've had the experience. So thus starts my training for my big goal. And I will be tuning in weekly. And I would love, if anyone's out there listening, give me a little thumbs up, give me a little encouragement, because that goes a long way for me. If you're also training for a marathon, I would love to hear what you do for training, what your tips are, what your advice is. I'm still learning a lot about proteins and nutritions and what works best for me, especially for recovery. It's hard for me to recover from my leg workouts when I weight lift. It takes like usually at least 2 days for me to recover, which slows me down sometimes. So I'm just looking for better ways to, to have the best nutrition, and any advice would be absolutely 100% appreciated. So have a good week, everybody, and I will be tuning in for week 14.